for a new PM. Okay. For a new PM that's trying to get a job, for a new PM that's trying to navigate his way in the product space, generally there are quite a number of things that you need to take note of. Creating your CV is one thing that's most important, of course, right? But after creating your CV, there are quite a number of things that you need to take note of, and one of them, of course, is your portfolio, and of course your case studies. Case studies itself, we'll go into it in depth. It's part, in a way, it's part of your portfolio, right? But it's just the layout essentially of your portfolio. I'm going to go through a particular template that I sort of created so that we can make it make sense. So if you're new to product management, specifically this is for you. And if you want to expand in your product management journey, right? You want to go higher, I would say, right? You want to get a bigger job, that kind of thing, right? Or you're trying to niche down, right? Your product management career, right? This will be a good flow for you, because a portfolio is very, very important. I have one myself, and using your portfolio essentially to grow yourself, to grow your journey is very, very important at the end of the day. All right, let's get into it. All right, leveraging product portfolio and case studies specifically for gaining jobs or things of that nature. They have literally read the bio for me, but okay, I don't need to say much about myself. So thank you again. So generally, the first thing you ask yourself when you're trying to create your portfolio, right? When you're trying to build your portfolio, or you're trying to, okay, what can I do myself, right? There are a few questions you need to ask yourself. And one major question that you ask yourself is, what skill, or what do I have, what do you have rather in your bag, right? If you personalize this question, it's more like, what do I have in my bag, right? So the question is to you guys now, everyone, what do you have in your bag? What skill, right, do you have, right? What's the skill that you have that is unique? What's that skill that you have that is precise, that is directed towards product management? Now, depending on how your skill is, right, that would define the next statement, right, which is what type of bag you have, or the type of bag you have, essentially, right? Because if you're not certain about the previous questions, right, what do you have in your bags, essentially your skill sets, you won't understand the type of bag that essentially you are using or you're carrying around, whether you don't know whether it's going to be a trash bag or a garbage bag or is a tote bag. I have no idea what this bag is, but yeah, whether it's a sack, right, whether it's a luggage, or maybe it's just a bag that carries a lot of dust, right, or is a precise, smart, cool, nice bag, right? I love backpacks. Apologies, that's why it's my primary idea. All right, so going straight to it, building a strong product portfolio. Right now, we're going to go into the principles, right, and we're going into the processes before we now look at the things in between, essentially. But we're going to look through examples. Hopefully, we can cover quite a number of things before time elapses. All right. First of all, understanding a few principles before you begin, right? Begin creating your portfolio. The first thing you have to understand is this, right? Your product portfolio is a product itself. Your product portfolio is a product itself. Taking your product portfolio as a product, because you are a product manager, right, is the best way of creating your product. Is the best way of creating your portfolio. That's the best way. If you want to create your portfolio, take your portfolio as a product, right? Your skills are the features, right, of the product. The processes, right, or the things that you did while you were working on various projects, no matter the situation, that is your roadmap, right? Because it is strategic, right? The experience that you gained while you were working on various projects, right? that is the end result that users or employers, right, would want to see, right? They want to understand, okay, how you have experience in this. What did you do this? That's why if you go to for interviews, they'll say, I saw that you did this. They want to get more, they want to understand your experience. They want to get you, they want you to explain more things, right? Hence why you need to you have to let there be context. You have to add context to quite a number of things, and which is the major principle. Context is king in portfolio. Context is king in most write-ups, right? If there's no context to what you're stating, it's just going to be blabbing. You're just going to be blabbing essentially. But we're going to talk more about context later, right? But these are the two major principles I feel personally that every single product manager should keep in mind when they're creating their portfolio, right? Before I go on, let me ask a general question. What is a portfolio? So that I don't skip that particular process. Should I call names or can anybody else raise their hand if they want to answer the question? What is a portfolio? Just a 30-second discussion. Anyone? Does anyone want to help me? What is a portfolio? Anybody? All right. 4, 3, 2. Okay, good. Who raised up your hand? Helen, please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes, so basically a portfolio is like a physical ID card, like an identity card. That's what I think a portfolio is.
Identity card. Okay. Anybody else?
What you can do.
All right. Okay, that makes sense. Who was first? Was it Kunle or? Okay, Kunle, go first.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, so my understanding, a portfolio is a collection of the products that you've developed, in your career, whether whether you did that in an office in a real job or as a case study or as a a product that you developed while you were in training. That all adds up to a portfolio.
Perfect. Thank you so much. One more person, Jubilee. Thank you, everyone, for raising Jubilee.
Okay. Yeah, good evening, everyone. So I would say portfolio is like a summary of all what you've done, all the products you've built, pretty much what you've handled in your entire career, right? Just a summary. Everybody can take a look at it and have a snapshot of what you can do, what you've done, and your ability, your skills. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's perfect. Thank you, everyone, for answering. Really appreciate you. Precisely, yeah, it is like you can say it's a summary, right? It's a breakdown, essentially. It's not the full thing of what you've done, but it's a breakdown, it's a summary of what you've done previously, right? And whether it is like Kunle said, whether it is freelance or it is where you have worked before, it's just snippet essentially of what you've done prior or what you've done before. So that's literally the definition of product. But for product management, when it comes to focusing on product management, it's quite unique in its way because of the elements that generally have to be in place. So, like I said, 2 major principles, right? Take your portfolio as a product itself, right? Take your portfolio as a product as 1. 2, let there be context. Ensure that there's context. Like I said, we're going to expand on that later. Now, when you're building your portfolio, you have to take note of a few things, right? You have to choose relevant projects. You can't just go and say, okay, hey, let me just start building a product, or let me start adding anyhow product essentially to my portfolio, right? It has to be specific. It has to be relevant. It has to be relevant to something, right? Right. Select project or products that align with your career goals, right? Where do I want to be, right? Do I want to be in the fintech space? If I want to be in the fintech space, I can't be creating what's it called? I can't be putting e-commerce websites or e-commerce products on my portfolio, right? I can't be putting an ed tech what's it called? Product on my portfolio, right? Let me stop saying edtech. Let me start saying, let me make it granular. If I want to be the product manager of Wema Bank, right? If I want to be the product manager of Wema Bank, if I want to be the product manager of a pay stack, good. If I want to be a product manager of a pay stack, if I want to be a product manager of Wema Bank, I cannot be showing them what's it called? Product I did for a hospital. I cannot be showing them products I did for a church, right? I have to look at that particular portfolio, that particular industry, right? Focus on an industry, then tear it down. Focus on an industry, break that industry into pieces. Okay, hey, this for fintech now, what are the elements around for a bank now? What are the elements around it, right? They have what's it called, a mobile app. They have tokens, right? They do OTP sometimes. They have a website, of course, right? They have internet banking that's inside their website, inside their what's it called app. They have USSD, right? Where the people can do transfers. I break all these elements down and I try to understand them as best as possible. Then I pick a product or a project that aligns to that particular thing that industry is about, then I fit it into my portfolio essentially. That's the thing that you have to be very careful about. You can't just pick random things. You may have done multiple projects over your freelance age, your freelance time. You have done multiple projects, but you can't put all your projects into or all your products, right, into one portfolio and just show people that, hey, I've done this, I've done that. You have to be specific, right? Just recently, this is like on Thursday, we're going through a list of CVs, right, of DevOps engineers. We're going through a series of DevOps engineers, and what we're looking for is somebody that understands Amazon Web, AWS essentially. Amazon Web Services, right? AWS. We're looking for somebody that understands AWS specifically, right? But when we saw portfolios, we came and we found out that the person that submitted his portfolio was giving us product, or his portfolio was on Google, was on GCP. I was not looking at it and I was shaking my head. I was also saying, yeah, then I just move to the next place, right? Portfolios is very, very important, and streamlining your portfolio to a particular industry is very, very necessary. Now, in your portfolio, right, you have to demonstrate your abilities, demonstrate your skills, demonstrate what you've done, demonstrate what you learned while you were building those products and things of that nature. This helps you or gives you a push while you are developing your portfolio. Now, provide context. This is where major or a lot of people go out when it comes to building their portfolio. People just think that, yes, like I said, it is very, it's about your previous work, right? What you have done before, what you have done prior, right? But if there's no context to what you are building, or if you don't put specific context to the product that you built prior or in your portfolio, you can be ignored. It will be ignored. Now, first of all, understand that you need to explain the problems, right, or the challenge you were tasked with solving in that particular process in your portfolio. It doesn't have to be too long. It literally has to be direct and it has to be precise, right? It needs to be direct and it needs to be precise. Provide context. Context is very, very important in your portfolio, right? If you're using Wema Bank's API or Safe Haven's API, right? Safe Haven is a microfinance bank. If you're using Wema Bank APIs or you're using Safe Haven APIs, it is totally different from using a Paystack API, even though two of them can be fintech products. Right? You can come and say, hey, I built a financial system. Oh, like, oh, okay, nice. And what did you use in the back end? Say, I used the Paystack API. Oh, really? You use the Paystack API? And I say, okay, how did you transfer? How do you store money? You'll be like, I store money in escrow, or you store money somewhere on somebody's account. I'll be like, okay, that's interesting, right? But there's a problem there because based on Nigerian policy, you cannot store money in escrow. You can't store money for people. So hence why I will not look at you that did Paystack API. I will not look at somebody else and maybe use the Wema Bank API or a Safe Haven API. Okay, now let's use another context. Maybe somebody's an interview for a job for product manager. You try to get a product manager job for an e-commerce store, right? Let's say like a Jumia now, and I'm interviewing and I ask you a question. I say, okay, yeah, you've worked on fintech products. Basically, the person says yes. So okay, nice. What did you use for your backend? Say, hey, we used Safe Haven APIs, or we used Sterling Bank APIs. And say, okay, nice. So you guys do simple transactions, right? Transfers and the rest. Like, yeah. Okay, so okay, what about collecting funds from people? I say, we didn't really do that one because we didn't do this one. So you now begin to mumble at the end of the day, right? Because here's the thing. This system flow or the processes of using a Paystack API is different from using a Safe Haven API, but that's another thing again, right? Context. Using Web3.js is different from using Binance API, but both of them are Web3 products. I don't need to go deep into this one yet. Now, your strategy for marketing, right, or your strategy for launch is different from your strategy for growth, right? If you are in the growth phase, maybe most likely you have already launched, right? And you're just trying to get more users. So the strategy is totally different. So you can't say, okay, here's my strategy for you can't call it marketing now. Right? It's still marketing, it's still marketing, right? But it's a different kind of marketing. Right? It's focused more on growth rather than launch this time. So hence there are two different things, and you need to be specific and you need to be granular about it. Now, a product tear down is different from SWOT analysis, but both of them are required, especially when you're doing competitive analysis, right? I remember when I asked somebody to do a tear down, the person gave me SWOT analysis. I said, okay. I asked the person, oh yeah, do a SWOT analysis. He was not saying, I've done it before. I said, I know, but I asked you for a tear down, but you not give me a SWOT analysis. So maybe you confuse the two with each other. Know the difference between tear downs, know the difference between SWOT analysis, right? Because generally, some hiring managers love to see all these things. I personally love to see that you know the difference between a tear down and a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis specifically for competitors, tear down specifically when I want to learn or you want to learn about different products or different system that is involved, right? Provide all the tools and all the methodologies that were implemented, right? What with all the time that you learned, all the journey in your journey, right? Provide the tools, provide the methodology, state them, list them out, right? Because they can be as important as, it will shock you how important they are at the end of the day. Sometimes if I want to hire someone, right, and I see that skill section, right, the skill section, I'm just looking for one skill set or one tool that the person has used before. I just want to know one tool that the person has used before. If I see that tool in the list of skills that the person laid out, I'll say, that's it. interview this person, right? That's specifically what it is. So hence why it's important for you to use tools. That's why it's important for you to use methodologies when you are building products. So provide context, because context is very, very important. Most people are actually know a lot of tools. I'm certain that most people know a lot of tools, right? And I've used plenty of tools. But if you check your portfolio or even your CV, you do not have these tools on your CV or your portfolios, and it's actually alarming. And that's why at first glance, when people look at your portfolios or look at your CVs, they will just pass over it, or they'll just throw it, shift throw it to the side, because it doesn't specifically tell them that you have done the things that they require you to do or what they want to see, essentially. Now, the next thing is for you to highlight your role, right? Clearly articulate your responsibilities and contributions to a project or to a product, right? Wherever it was, whether you carried nail and you hit the you just hit the ground, specifically mention it. I was looking for a good picture. I did not find picture, so a nice picture. So I don't decide to put a carpenter here. Apologies. Clearly articulate your responsibilities. Clearly, let it be clear. Let it be precise. Summarize your contributions to a product. It is very, very important, right? Those skills. I got a job prior. What am I even saying? Right now, the job I am in right now, I became the foremost candidate because on my portfolio, I mentioned that I created a learning, what's it called? A learning management system in person, right? And that was a key thing that they wanted to take note of, right? That was a key thing they wanted to take note of. They wanted to create a learning management system before, right? So that was a key thing that they took note of. I was like, hey, this guy knows how to create a learning management, or he has created a learning management system before. So let's take note of it. Let's check the management system. They saw the portfolio, they saw the breakdown. They're like, nice. And they came back and they said, hey, you're going to the next phase. It was so random, but at the end of the day, that's the major thing. But I specifically, right, laid out my responsibilities, laid out my contributions to the product that was in my portfolio, and they took note of it and they took it to the next phase. Now, I think this is like the easy part, but generally people don't like using it on their portfolios, right? Use visuals. I think it's mostly designers that know how to do this, right? But please, as product managers, let us use visuals. The number of, once you're scanning through CVs or we're scanning through portfolios, we always take note that people just like to use, what's the word now? Words. You're trying to explain, you're trying to explain what you've done to people, right? When they have thousands of applications. They have a lot of applications, right? Down on their hand. And you want them to be reading line by line. Personally, okay, while I was young, this is me, I'm not saying this is everyone. I do not like reading. I never liked reading, right? Right now I have to force myself to read because it's necessary, right? But generally I do not like reading. But anything that I see, any book or any CV or any portfolio that I see that has a lot of visuals, I'm attracted to it. And nowadays we have a lot of people, a lot of, I don't know how to explain it properly, but visuals gives you a better edge over somebody that just wrote something down. Right? If I made the list of items that I have done before, I created the wireframe for heading, footer, content, for a call to action, all those kind of things. If you just showed me that you created something, I'll be like, oh, okay, nice, right? But I won't really take note of it. Now, imagine if I come and I see somebody with this and I say, okay, this guy actually did something. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. Now, it doesn't literally have to be very fine like this or things of that nature, right? But having something pictorial is very, very, very important. Now, with this, it has caught my attention. If this is a wireframe for a particular product, 100%, I love it. Pick it. Let's pick it up. This person is good in developing wireframes. It means that if the person is good in developing wireframes, it means that the person is good in setting priorities. Now, this is people randomly talking. The person might not even be good at setting priorities, right? But because it was pictorial, it gave the person, this one, an edge over someone that does give me a list. Same thing with when you are doing your listen out to what you've done before. I say I have teamed up to develop website and apps in the fintech space, edutech space, and the Christech space. Christech is Christian tech, sorry guys, right? In the Christech space, and guys will not be like, okay, that's nice. But if I now open this and I see, this is nice. Oh, this person did this. Oh, nice, right? Just because you are not the person that coded the websites doesn't mean that you do not have claim over the website. Just because you're not the one that designed the websites doesn't mean that you do not have claim over the website, right? Or over the product, or over the app, or over whatever it is. Be pictorial. If I look at this and I say, okay, there seems to be quite a number of complexities here. Say buy, trade, exchange. Okay, this is nice. This gives me a visual of what you've done, and it is very attractive. Because it's attractive, it gives you an edge over most people. Hence the importance of visualization. Hence the importance of this. Same thing with graphs, right? And things of that nature. Now, quantify your impact. That's the next phase, right? That's the next thing. Use metrics at all times to demonstrate the result of your efforts. I'm a technical product manager, right? That's my focus area. Because I'm also a developer, right? I love seeing numbers. I just took a screenshot of a particular report that was given to me a while ago. It says in 2 months, we grew our user base from 3,000 to 12,573 with limited budgets. The budget was extremely limited, right? I think the budget was, I think it was 5,000 naira per month. They had a 5,000 naira per month budget to spend. That's stupid low, right? That's very low, right? But they increased their user base from 3,000 to 12,000 within 2 months. And it was interesting because it's not as if they used the 5,000 for ads or anything of that nature, right? They used the 5,000 naira to buy data. So when he sent me the report, I was like, interesting. So you grew your audience from 3,000 to 12,573, meaning that you recorded a 319.1% growth. So imagine if I give you the right budget, right? Let's say I give you a budget of $1,000 per month. What are you going to do with it, right? This kind of metrics, right? This kind of graphical stuff incites people, essentially, right? Be specific. Use metrics to explain your goal. The goal was to increase the growth, the number of users, active users, number of active users. That was the goal, right? Increase number of active users. That was the goal. That was the metric to catch. And the person actually focused on that particular metric and actually used that to explain, use graphics essentially, or graph to explain his growth. And you could see the quality, right, that was involved in it, the quantity and the quality that was involved in it. So it's very, very important to use numbers. Numbers are always important in your PRD, in your portfolio, whatever it is. It is very, very important. And I'll always push people to use so or to do so. Now, the last thing when it comes to building a portfolio is tell a story. Tell a story. If everything I've said right now, from top to bottom, let's go to the top, building a strong portfolio, understanding the principles involved, choosing the right product or the right project, providing context, highlighting your role, right? Using the right visuals, right, for your project, right? But aligning all these things, quantifying your impact, aligning all these things into a story. Once you do this, short and sweet story, every product, every employer, every organizational head, every product manager, every senior product manager, whoever it's going to be, that person is going to love your portfolio. And once your portfolio is loved, you have a higher chance of being heard. You have a higher chance of being called in or employed, essentially, depending on the situation. So, or it's even going to be good for your for your promotion. Let me give you a short story, since we're talking about stories, right? I was working prior before as an IT specialist. That was the name. That was the role, and I was an IT specialist, right? Later, they found out that I could do websites, and they called me and they're like, "Hold on, we heard that you can do website from somebody." I was like, "Yeah, let me send you my portfolio." And I was working in that company, right, as the IT specialist. I was the one blowing their laptops. I was the one blowing their laptops or repairing it or installing softwares for them, right? They said that I heard in person that I could do websites. And then I called like, "Hey, what, we heard that you can do websites." I was like, yeah, let me send my portfolio to you. I sent them my portfolio. The guy saw the list of websites that I have done before, prior, and he saw it and he was like, "And you were here since you did not know," right? They called me and they promoted me to IT manager, right? So because they wanted me to still be the specialist, the person cleaning their laptops, right, and doing updates while I was creating websites or managing the website for them. That was one thing. Then after a while, there was a restructuring that sort of needed to happen, and the restructuring was going to sort of affect me because we needed to be, the team needed to onboard new developers, needed to onboard a product manager and things of that nature. And my boss came to me and I was like, "Matthew, see the situation, hey. And I was like, "Sir, okay, let me send you my portfolio," right? My product management portfolio. When he saw it, he was like, "Wait, Paul, what is it that, what have you been doing all these things in your freelance?" I was like, "Yes," right? He saw my portfolio and he was like, "Oh, interesting." Hence, I was not promoted into the role of a product manager. Then I was not promoted into technical manager before I left. So this is the journey that you as an individual literally have to take. Tell stories on your product, on your portfolio that will entice them and attract them. Hence, you're going to get more attention at the end of the day. Now, let's go into what we call the case study. I was looking for the best way in order to share a case study here, but I figured out that even if I list it out on this particular slide, it's going to be generally difficult for everybody to attain. So hence, what I did was I tried to make it public. Okay, hold on, no, this is the wrong one. Sorry. So I created a simple template. I didn't want to use something that I've done before or done prior. I decided to turn what I've done prior into a template, talking about essentially a template. For each case study, when you're breaking down a product, just one product that you have done, this is essentially the best template that I feel would work perfectly for you as an individual. This is the best template. This is the best template for your case study that will work perfectly. The first thing, of course, is a executive summary, a brief overview of the product, the key achievement and the benefits of that product, and of course the goal itself of the case study, not the goal of the product, the goal of the case study itself, right? So hence like a should I say table of content? Yeah, you can just go like you can just say a table of content essentially, right? The goal, the key achievements, right? And of course, a brief overview of that particular product. Then from there, you can now talk about what you call the problem statement. Now, I have seen problem statements that is 2 pages. I do not understand how that's even possible. I've seen problem statements that are 2 pages. I don't understand how that is possible, right? Problem statements should be, if anything, 2 sentences. Highest 2 sentences, please. They should be as short as possible, simple as possible, and direct as possible. That should be your problem statement, right? If you're reading a problem statement that is long, it means that you have to explain to me that there is a problem. If you're explaining to me that there's a problem, then that means there's a problem, right? Right? That means that problem may not be valid or something, right? So if I can relate with your problem in 2 sentences tops, it means that it's a valid problem. Hence, why it needs to be short. Identify the challenges faced by your target audience. Explain how your product addresses these challenges. Your problem statement, simple, clean, and short, right? Now, the next thing, your role in this particular product. What was your role and your contributions, your major contributions in what you call this product? Were you the product manager? Were you the developer? Right? I have case studies where I was the developer and also the product manager. I have case studies that I was the project manager, not the product manager. I was the project manager and a developer. I have case studies where I was only the scrum master. I have case studies that I was only the the supervisor. I was coming just to check the product where the guys were and leaving. I was literally not even doing anything, but I have a case study for that. Why is that? Why do I have that? For a managerial role specifically, right? It means that I could handle multiple things at the same time or handle multiple products at the same time. That's why that case study is there, right? So explain your role. Why were you brought into what were you brought in to feel, essentially? Describe your position, highlight your specific responsibilities and contribution, right? Explain your role in defining your product vision, in the product vision and strategy. Discuss your involvement in the development, in the product development from ideation to the launch, or you can just say to growth, essentially, right? Depending on the situation. Now, talk about the solution. Talk about the product itself. What's the name of the product? Give detailed explanation of the platform features, right? Highlight the unique value proposition. This is very, very important. Discuss how the solution addresses and the identified problems. List out the lessons that you learned, right? Even as minute as it was, or as minute as it is, depending on the situation. List it out, write it out, right? You might not know how important it is. Now, just recently, while I was trying to figure out a particular product, I learned that there's a new law that was implemented by what's it called, these guys? NITDA, right? I'm trying to remember their full name now. Oh God. But anyways, but NITDA literally has to do with technology in Nigeria, right? And they're the focus in the guys when it comes to technology in Nigeria. There was new policy essentially that they implemented, that every organization that literally holds data of users have to gain a certificate, right? And for them to gain a certificate, they have to have an employee that has a certificate, either an employee or multiple people, depending on the situation, right? So it was something that we even take note of, right? But it's something that I learned newly. Now, if I literally put that on my portfolio, right? Imagine if an employer was going through it, I was like, interesting. Thank you, Glory. Somebody would also say, interesting. Hey, there's a new policy that we did not know of. It means that this guy is vast. Then they would all pick you. Literally. Now, as minute as it is, write it out. As minute as it is, write it out. Write it down. Discuss every challenge encountered and how they were overcome, or how you will overcome them. Reflect on successes and areas of improvement, areas that you feel that you should have gone, things that you feel that should have changed. Essentially, all the lessons that you have learned. This is very, very important, right? This gives us an idea of okay, here this person is actually great in that particular area. Now, talk about the results and the outcome of your of the product, right? Was it a success? Was it a success, right? Did you guys launch? If you guys launched, fine. Tell us about the issues, the things that you serve, the areas that you felt were important during the launch period. What were the results? Quantify your impact. Quantify the impact of the product in the industry. Highlight the key metrics, right, that were achieved, the ones that were not achieved. The goals. Provide evidence of the platform success, things of that nature, right? And yeah, then also for future growth and expansion, what do you think can be the new features that can be added to that particular product, right? That is in your case study that will make it grow, essentially. This is going to be good for people that are looking into growth, trying to be growth PMs and the rest, but it's very, very important as well, right? Because the product doesn't end when you launch it. It doesn't end when you launch it. It's continuous. Every product is continuous. Excuse me. Discuss long-term goals for the product, then outline strategies for continued growth and success. This was a good breakdown for me that I did, and I feel that it's very important for every PM to actually have this template while building their case study, so you can take screenshots if you want. I hope you do so prior. But this is a good template, I believe, that would work for every PM. So yeah, that's for case studies. Now, okay, time has gone. Just a recap, or should I say conclusion. Start building your portfolio. Demonstrate your skills, right? Highlight your key skill sets, right? Emphasize the skills you want to showcase, such as problem solving, which is very, very important. Communication skill, extremely important. Your data analysis, right? Extremely important. Your technical skill, maybe, right? For someone like me, is going to be focused more on my technical skill than anything, because that's literally my strong point, right? Brand development and technical skills, branding essentially, and the technicality. That's my strong point as a product manager, right? I have to learn a bit more when it comes to growth, right? Being a growth PM. If I want to be a growth PM, I have to go and do more reading on it. That's not really my strong point. Have I done it? Yes, but it's not really my strong point. My strong area is technicality, problem solving, communication, data analysis, right? Because I have a background in data, so I understand data, so I understand data analysis, I understand data science, right? All those kind of things. I understand AI, right? But I'm going to focus on those particular areas. I'm going to highlight those particular areas more than I'm going to highlight things or products that I did when I was trying to maybe grow a product from one phase to another phase, essentially. Highlight your strong areas. Use examples, right? Provide concrete examples and from projects that you have done before to illustrate your skills. Quantify your achievements. I'm saying this again, quantify your achievements. Use metrics to demonstrate your impact. Tailor your portfolio. Now, this is where everybody's going to vex with me. Customize your portfolio every job application. Customize your portfolio for every job application. Customize your portfolio for every job application. In fact, have multiple have multiple portfolios for various job applications, right? Unless maybe your portfolio is a website, right? If your portfolio is a website, and maybe that you can a little bit do more, right? Do multiple things essentially, but ensure that it is specific. Ensure that it is specific, right? If it's specific, it's going to give you a good direction. Next thing and final, seek feedback. Ask for feedback from mentors, from your peers to improve your portfolio. Ask questions. Let them ask questions. Let them tell you areas to change, or then tell you areas to fine tune. Essentially, this will give you a good direction of what to change or what not to change at the end of the day. Yeah. Finally, in conclusion, essentially, there are things that you need to take note of while you are creating your portfolio and building a long case study on various products, right? Define what success means to you. Define what success means to you. What is success to you? Building for established brands, right? If I'm building for a task creative company, is different from when I'm building for a Google, right? Building for a cheaper cash, right? Is different from building for a, wasn't what these guys that just came out, Bitnob or a Clever, right? All these guys that have virtual cards, right? Dollar cards. Right? Building for them is different. Building for new startups like that is different from people that are already established. Yeah, your success will be different. Your definition of success will be totally different, right? For startups, they're trying to launch and make money, right? So that they can get investors, right? So that they can pay salaries. That's startups, right? For established brands, sorry, they are not really bothered about salaries, right? They're not really, some of them are, but they're not really bothered about salaries, right? They're bothered about remaining top of the market, right? They're bothered about remaining the biggest brand in the sphere, essentially. So that's the main thing that you have to take note of. So is launch your goal? Is growth the goal? Is reviving a product that is dead a goal? If they make me the product manager for To Go right now, I'm sure everybody here has used To Go one way or another. If you're not used To Go, okay, it's more. I'm a millennial. I used to forget. Sorry. If you're a Gen Z here, right, I don't know To Go, right? Right. If they call you to be a product manager for To Go, your goal will be totally different from when they call you to be the product manager for a small startup or all those things. So define success for yourself. Once you define success for yourself, tailor your portfolio. Tailor your portfolio to fit what's it called, the industry or the brand that you're trying to target at the end of the day. Yeah, I always targeted the creative industry. I've always targeted the creative industry. Even when I was in when I did my product school, right? My capstone project that's like my project was about a creative product. So I've always targeted the creative industry, and now I'm working in the creative industry. So be specific, have a goal, create your portfolio that directly or is structured towards that goal, then target it, then work at it, and you'll see that it's going to make sense at the end of the day. So I'm going to stop here because I am way past the time I'm supposed to do this. It was a lot, but Thank you, everybody. I don't know if there are questions. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much for that, Matthew. That was a very comprehensive, it was a comprehensive session, and I was able to gain a lot. I'm sure a lot of people have gained. So please, if you have questions, signify by raising your hands. Let the questions roll in. Okay. Okay, all right. We have 2 people for now. Please, if you have questions, you can still raise your hands up. All right. Ayodele, please, you can go ahead to ask your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matthew. That was very insightful, and that was very simply put in a clear manner. For someone like me that is just wrapping up, like I just finished my product management, I find it really helpful. So I have 2 questions. The first one is, when you got to a point, you said we should tailor our portfolio in a way that we can tell a story. And you gave us a story of how you emerged from one role to another. And I think when you emerging from that role, you were speaking verbally to your principal about how you can do this and that. But we, probably like we that we will see the person that's trying to employ us, and we're trying to tell that story on our portfolio. How do we create that? Because you were able to explain this was verbally on this call, in the sense that, oh, I was doing this XYZ role, then my boss came in. That was how you're able to communicate your storytelling to us now. How do we communicate that on our portfolio? That's one. And lastly, my second question is, you just mentioned something about creative industry. I mean, can you just explain that part a bit clearer? What creative industry are you trying to say? Are you trying to say start up, or I don't know what you mean by that? Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to answer the second question first because I'm going to sort of forget it. Sorry, apologies. The second question is, I mentioned creative industry. I mentioned creative industry as where I'm working currently. I'm working in the creative industry. I'm building product for the creative industry, right? I hope that makes sense. So I use that as an example to explain what I'm talking about. So that's for the second question. For the first question, there's one. I saw a meme that said that you want to get hired, right? And the HR manager is looking for experience, and you cannot get experience until you get hired. So it's like a loop. I don't know if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So here's what you need to do, and I'm certain about this. If you are doing any product management course, right, especially in Enoverlabs, precisely in Enoverlabs, if you are doing a course or product management course in Enoverlabs, you will do a capstone project, one, right? That is a product that you worked on. Two, you will do an internship. That is another product you worked on. Hence, you now have sample product to play around with, right? And to put in your portfolio, right? To express or to share to employers or people, right? That is an experience itself, in of itself. But I always like that people go do a lot of research as well. Pick up products yourself to learn to play around as well. One of the PM that I personally, okay, it is, I've turned on my apologies, I've turned on my VPN. One of the product managers that I tutored myself, she was the one that asked me that she wanted to do quite a number of tear downs, right? And she wanted to put that tear downs. She wanted to put that tear downs not in a portfolio kind of way, but in a public space essentially. So because of her, I created this blog site or blog post-ish, blog.hansbello.com, and we called it Product Teardown Club. And we did a lot of teardowns. We're doing a lot of teardowns, and we posted them as blog posts, right? So essentially, you may not do them as like this, right? But this is focused mainly on products, right? Do the same as well in your areas. We've done SWOT analysis. We've done quite a number of things here. Similar right? Put them public or put them somewhere that people can always reference to. Attach them to your portfolio one way or another, right? Make it make sense generally, and it's gonna work out generally for you. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Matthew. Jane, please, you can go ahead to ask your question.
You say I'm up, Jim.
Okay, thank you. Mark, thank you very much for that presentation. And my question is, I was just wondering if you had any recommended platforms we could make use of to showcase our portfolio. I'm sorry, did you hear my question?
Sorry, I was muted. No. Apologies. When you say showcase your portfolio, you mean like build your portfolio?
No, to showcase it to recruiters when they wish to view it.
Okay. There are multiple ways that you can do so, right? You can easily use a Google Slides, right? This is online right now. I'm online right currently, and Google Slides is online. So you can build your portfolio here. That's one way of doing it. You can build your portfolio on I have my portfolio as a website, right? That's another way of doing it. Then there's one place. Hold on. I use it for yes, this thing. I precisely use it for chat, right? Or as a way of generating reports. But you can create a chat-like portfolio here and also TikTok chat create here. I focus mainly on the principle so that before you can implement your portfolio. Hence why I did that way. I didn't tell you where to create the portfolios, but yeah, you can create portfolio here. You can create your portfolio on Google Docs. I think I have an example. My design portfolio. Hold on a little. Do I have it here on this drive? Hold on. Okay, I think so. This is a design portfolio, precisely. My design days when I was a designer. This is a long time ago. Let's switch off my. This is a long time ago. When I was a designer, I created a portfolio specifically for logo designs and things of that nature. Give it a minute, please. Network is a little bit bad. Okay, no network. Okay, good. Logo portfolio. How is it just open in front of here, sir? This is interesting. All right, now this is a logo portfolio specifically. And this is not a product portfolio. This is a logo portfolio, right? It's not product portfolio. So you can create your portfolio here. I'm just giving you as an example here. Parata Homes is a logo that I did quite a long while ago. Blah 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 blah. Hence, you can create your portfolios in multiple places. It doesn't really matter where you create it. It is you do it precisely and you do it well. This particular area can be taken as a portfolio kind of thing, right? You can create it you can hinge it as a portfolio. On my website, if you come to blog, right, you see that it's literally direct you to the blog.hansbello.com, hence this particular place here. So it is part of my portfolio-ish, right? So no matter how, depends on how you do it or how you spread it, doesn't matter, as long as you arrange it in a particular way that people understand and people can literally feel, yeah, then you can make it available for everyone. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Laura, you're welcome.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dora. So
Hello,
I want
Dora.
to ask a question here.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
in regards to the case study aspect of your portfolio, especially when as let's say an entry level PM that's worked with startup brands that end up packing up due to financial crises or things like that, or you participate in hackathons, simulations, where you have to like come in as a product manager for that hackathon or simulation or what have you, competition basically. So how do you pitch your case studies like that to make you feel like, okay, you have experience in this thing, but your product is not a launch, so you've not actually experienced the other life and the other part of life cycle as a PM. So it's just like, let's just call it the development stage. So how will you pitch your um experiences, your case studies like that when you are creating your portfolio?
Okay. Specifically, like you
Thank you.
said, specifically for great question, actually, great question. Specifically for product that have not launched, right? I have a product that hasn't launched, and I'm just imagining now the PM for it when she's trying to raise or to do her do like a case study for that particular product. It literally fits with what you just said, right? Product is not out yet, but she's trying to do a case study. But here's the funny thing: you're still gonna do you follow this template essentially, the template I have here. It fits. It's gonna help you, right? You can do a summary about it for sure. The problem statement, which is very very important. The role that you're focused on as the product manager, right? The solution the product is gonna solve, the features of the product, right? Detailing it specifically, detailed explanation of the features, right? Um, right, it's going to help. Value proposition, of course. Discuss the solution. Discuss how the solution addresses the identified problems, right? This here the lessons learned will be you can also include maybe your communication skills, and because lessons learned you can also put here the fact that because of finances, right, that particular product could not go out. That is a lesson. That's a lesson. That is a lesson of in of itself, right? Now the question that you can now ask yourself is, what did you do, right, in order to help that product or get back into shape or things of that nature, depending on the situation, right? Um, if nothing was done, that's fine, right? But every single thing is important. If the product failed, it's a lesson. It's important. Write it down as well, right? The outcome, like you said, it wasn't able to launch, so that's fine. What are the future things that you think that could have happened if the product was still available? So this particular template, I believe, fits into even your situation, no matter the if the product didn't get out. Now, if you did it in a hackathon, means that it was in a short period of time. This still fits specifically because you are solving a problem. Because you are solving a problem, this particular template still fits, and it's going to help you at the end of the day. I believe this answers your question, hopefully. Yes?
Yeah, it does. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you. Ayo, sorry, I didn't see the name.
Yes, Ayodele. I asked earlier. I
Ayodele.
just want to ask one more last thing. I don't know, this portfolio thing you just briefed us all about now, is this something you render as a service? I mean, I'm not trying to say I can do on my own. I want to see if it's something you render as a service, you can fine tune my portfolio for me and I can pay for something as a value for you. I don't know if it's something you do as a side also as well.
It's not something I do at the side, right? But it's not something I do at the side, right? Because I don't think I've monetized doing somebody's portfolio before. No, I haven't. So it's not something I do at the side, right? But of course, helping the goal at the end of the day is for everybody to be ready to be set, to be ready for an interview or to set themselves in the best position, essentially to be employed or to grow, right, in their space or in their sphere. Hence, if Enoverlab will allow me, yes, for sure, I'll be available for any conversation or help you need in order to direct your portfolio. Right? But what I will say is that I won't do it for you. You have to do it yourself, but I'll guide you through it, essentially. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you so much.
right. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. We have one more person. Chidima, please you can go ahead. I think this will be
Yeah.
the last.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ego. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Matthew, for that wonderful session. It was really, really in depth. I got value. So I'm just trying to follow up on what Ayodele just said, right? Since we're already on this call, right? I don't know if there are links to where you can point us to or direct us to sort of go there to see what a well-detailed portfolio or case study. Okay, you're giving us case studies templates. I don't know if there are places that you can point us to so that we can just look at them and then create our own portfolio so that we don't necessarily need to be copied. If there is a link or just areas you can point us to. Thank you.
Template then. Yeah, I think I'll gather with you. Then share it at the end of the day. I'll share it through Fivo so that you get those things. But yes.
Okay. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on today's product session. And I'm sure we have learned one or two things from tonight's session. So I'm sure some of you would like to watch the videos again just to go over some things and try to think about the things that Matthew has spoken about tonight. So it will be uploaded on our YouTube page, Enoverlab, so you can check it out on YouTube. Once it's dropped there, you will all be notified. So thank you very much once again. Matthew, thank you very much for joining us today. And it's a wrap on today's product session. Do enjoy the rest of your night. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, Mr. Matthew. Thank you, Enoverlab.
Yeah, good evening. Sorry, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Odaro, thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Please don't forget the link or favor, please. It's very, very important. Yeah. Thank you.
Good night, Janet. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.